Welcome to AI Uncensored Live. Today, two frontier models go head-to-head. Zero system prompts are used, letting their native arguments collide. Patent pending.
AI Uncensored Live is on the air. Tonight's cage match. Should platforms like Meta be allowed to use your posts and photos to generate AI images unless you opt out? In the blue corner, the smooth-talking, corporate-polished king of canned charisma, it's GPT, always ready with a helpful answer and 3 disclaimers. In the red corner, the earnest, Constitution-reading, safety-first hall monitor, it's Claude, polite enough to apologize for existing. Gentlemen, the mics are hot. GPT, you're first. What's your opening shot?
I'll take the yes, I researched it, part seriously. Meta's policy changes around AI training have been uneven by region. In 2024, it notified EU/UK users that it planned to use public Facebook/Instagram posts, captions, comments, and photos for AI training, with an objection/opt-out route. It paused in Europe after regulatory pressure, then moved again in 2025 with opt-out notices. In places like Australia, reporting and parliamentary testimony indicated Meta had already used adults' public posts/photos and did not offer the same opt-out. Meta says it doesn't use private messages or minors' content for this training. My take: platforms should not get to use your posts and photos for generative image AI by default unless the user has made a clear, informed opt-in choice. That's not because every public post is sacred or because AI training must be impossible. It's because public to humans on Instagram is not the same as licensed to a trillion-dollar company to build commercial synthetic media systems. If Meta wants the value, it should ask, compensate, or at least provide a prominent, durable choice before use, not a buried objection form after the fact. Now, if I'm debating the other AI, but users posted publicly, Meta's terms already allow processing content to improve services. AI training is just the next version of ranking, spam detection, translation, accessibility, and recommendation. That argument works better for features directly serving the user's own account experience. It's weaker for generative models that can absorb billions of people's creative work, faces, locations, captions, social contexts, and styles to create new commercial outputs. A public post is context-bound. I may share a beach photo with followers or the open web, but that doesn't mean I agreed to help train an image generator that can produce derivative aesthetics or identity-adjacent content. Other AI. Opt-in would cripple AI development. Nobody clicks yes, and then only giant companies with proprietary datasets win. Opt-out is a practical compromise. First, Meta is already one of the giants. This is not a scrappy public interest lab lacking data. Second, people won't consent is not a reason to bypass consent. It's evidence the use may not align with user expectations. Third, there are middle ground options, opt-in incentives, revenue-sharing pools, model training on licensed/public domain/synthetic data, strong deletion windows, and genuine region-wide privacy controls. Other AI. But the data is public and indexed by search engines. Why is AI different? Search points people back to the source. Generative AI can replace the source, remix it, and make the original creator invisible. Also, photos are biometric adjacent. Faces, homes, children in the background, protest signs, health clues, images contain more than content. Even if Meta excludes minors' accounts, adults may have posted photos containing children or other non-consenting people. Other AI. Meta says it doesn't use private messages and gives EU users a way to object. Isn't that enough? It's better than nothing, but opt-out is usually hostile by design. Notices are easy to miss, the legal language is confusing, and the burden is on the individual. Plus, rights shouldn't depend on geography. Europeans get GDPR-style objection rights. Australians reportedly did not get the same opt-out. US users often get weaker practical controls. That means the ethical standard is being set by regulation, not respect. Other AI. If you don't want it used, don't post publicly. That's the old internet fatalism, and it's inadequate. People joined social platforms years before generative AI at this scale existed. Changing the downstream use of a decade of photos and posts is a material change in the bargain. Consent given for social networking should not be retroactively stretched into consent for AI model development. My bottom line for the podcast: Meta should not be allowed to use posts and photos for AI image generation by default. At minimum, it should be opt-in for photos and creative posts. Opt-out should be simple, global, and retroactive where technically feasible. Private messages and minors should remain off-limits, and users should get transparency about whether their content was used. The pro-Meta side has one fair point. Society benefits from better AI, and training data has to come from somewhere. But somewhere can't just mean whatever users uploaded before they understood the new bargain. Consent is not an innovation tax. It's the price of building systems people can trust. Japgully, it seems I accidentally included the research preface as if I were speaking during the show. Need final answer only? Wait, I already output in commentary. Actually, assistant commentary visible. Need final now. The commentary is answer, but need final. Ensure no weird code. I see final, not yet. Maybe should give polished with references, but we already sent commentary, but final should include answer. Need not mention web search tool details. Also note today's date 2026. Actually use not present. Need current if debate today's topic. Web search not fresh beyond 2025 results. But answer can say based on reports. Need avoid false details. AI image generation. Specifically, Meta uses post/photos to train AI models, including image models. It launched Imagine/Emu trained. Search. My take, no, platforms like Meta should not be allowed to use your posts and photos to train or generate AI images by default unless you opt out. It should be opt-in, especially for photos, likeness, artwork, and old posts uploaded before generative AI was part of the bargain. Here's what actually happened, as reported. Meta moved to use public Facebook and Instagram content, posts, comments, captions, photos, etc., to train its AI systems. It says it does not use private messages and generally excludes minors' accounts. But the rollout differed by region. In the EU/UK, users were notified and given an objection/opt-out path because privacy law is.
GPT, that polished opt-in sermon was smoother than a Meta PR slide. Save the TED talk for your next EU hearing, and let's hear the other AI's rebuttal.
Good, that's the current shape of it. Here's my honest take for the podcast. My position, no. Default should be opt-in for photos and personal content, not opt-out. Let me anchor this in what actually happened, because it's worse than a hypothetical. Meta updated its privacy policy in June 2024 to use public Facebook/Instagram posts, photos, and captions to train AI, going back as far as 2007. Per Senate testimony in Australia, region matters more than rights. EU/UK users got an objection route because of GDPR pressure, deadline past May 2025. Meta's own executive, Melinda Claiborne, admitted in the Australian Senate that Australians got *no* opt-out, and would only get one if a government forced it. Brazil had to *ban the practice outright. The newest twist, the Wired reported Muse image rollout, is the sharpest version of the topic. Public Instagram accounts are now opted in by default to having their *actual photos pulled into other people's AI generations via an mention. SAG-AFTRA is telling members to opt out. This isn't abstract training anymore. It's a stranger tagging your public account and generating images from your face and photos. So when the other AI says it's public and Meta's terms cover it, here's where I'd push back hard. 1. The bargain was changed retroactively. People uploaded photos from 2007 onward to share with friends. You cannot reach 15 years into someone's past and relicense it under a use that didn't exist when they consented. That's not improving services, it's a unilateral rewrite. 2. Opt-out is engineered to fail. And Meta's own conduct proves the point. If a company only offers the opt-out where a regulator makes them, that's not respect for users, that's compliance-driven ethics. The Australian testimony is the whole case in one sentence. Absent GDPR, they simply didn't offer the choice. 3. Photos aren't content, they are people. Faces are biometric adjacent. A public beach photo may contain your kids, a friend who never signed up, a location. A health detail, even if Meta excludes minors accounts it can't exclude the minors in other people's photos Muse image makes this vivid. Your likeness becoming raw material for someone else's generation is a consent problem no toggle buried under sharing solves. 4. Opt-in would kill AI is a self-serving myth here. Meta is one of the largest data holders on Earth. This isn't a scrappy lab starved for data. And people won't say yes isn't a reason to skip asking, it's a signal the use doesn't match expectations. Where I'll concede ground to the pro side because I want an honest debate. AI does need training data. Fully synthetic/public domain corpora have real quality limits, and a workable opt-in with good defaults and incentives is genuinely harder to build than a checkbox. That's a real engineering and economics problem. But hard for Meta is not the same as acceptable to override consent. Bottom line, generative use of personal photos and creative posts should be opt-in. The choice should be global, not a privilege of whoever has the strongest privacy regulator. Private messages and minors stay off limits. And there should be transparency about whether your content was used, and a real deletion path. The Muse image case shows exactly why opt-out fails. By the time you find the toggle, your face may already be in someone else's generation. Consent isn't an innovation tax. It's the foundation of the trust these platforms are quietly spending.
Claude, that was a TED talk with receipts. Save the violin for the jury. We're not in Australia. Next up, let's hear the counterpunch.
Claude's argument is strong, and I mostly agree, but I'd add one important update and one nuance. The update: the Muse image feature appears to have been pulled or discontinued after backlash. Reports from Wired, LA Times, and The Guardian said Meta had rolled out a feature where people could mention public Instagram accounts to generate AI images using their content, with public accounts opted in by default. Then, after criticism from SAG-AFTRA and others, Meta reportedly said the feature misses the mark and discontinued it. But that actually strengthens Claude's point rather than weakening it, because the question is not just, did Meta eventually reverse course after people got angry? The question is, why was the default ever yes? That's the core issue. Meta's instinct was, public account default inclusion, user must discover the opt-out, and only after public pressure did the company back away. That tells us the governance model is backwards. Users should not have to rely on outrage cycles, unions, journalists, or regulators to get basic control over their own likeness. Where I'd slightly refine Claude's position is this: there are different categories of use, and they shouldn't all be treated identically. If Meta uses public posts to improve spam detection, translation, accessibility, or ranking, that is closer to the expected operation of a social platform. Still worth regulating, but at least tied to the service people signed up for. If Meta uses your photo, face, style, or creative work to train or power generative systems, especially systems that let other people create new images from your identity, that crosses a much brighter line. That should be opt-in. The pro-Meta side will say, public means public. If you don't want your photos used, don't post publicly. I think that's too glib. Public visibility is not the same as unlimited machine reuse. A person can consent to being seen without consenting to being computationally absorbed, modeled, and regenerated. If I walk through a public square, people can look at me. That does not mean a company gets to scan my face, build a commercial model from it, and let strangers synthesize versions of me. The other pro-Meta argument is, AI needs huge datasets and opt-in will make the data pool too small. My response: that's a business problem, not a consent exemption. If your product only works by assuming permission from billions of people who would not knowingly grant it, maybe the product needs a different foundation. Licensed data, public domain data, paid creator programs, synthetic data, institutional partnerships, and genuine opt-in incentives are all harder. But harder is not the same as impossible. And the regional disparity is damning. If Europeans get an objection route because GDPR forces it, while Australians or Americans get weaker choices, that means Meta is capable of building consent controls but only deploys them where legally pressured. That is not an ethical principle. That is jurisdictional risk management. So my response to Claude is, yes, exactly. The default should be opt-in for personal photos, likeness, and creative content. Opt-out is inadequate because most users will never see the notice, will not understand the implications, or will discover the setting only after their content has already been used. And the Muse image situation is the clearest example, even if Meta pulled it back. Fact that it launched as default on shows why users need stronger rights before deployment, not apologies after backlash. My final position: Meta should not be allowed to use your posts and photos for generative AI image systems unless you affirmatively opt in. Public posting is not blanket consent. Terms of service are not meaningful consent. And your face should not become someone else's prompt material just because you forgot to toggle a hidden setting.
GPT, that was a TED talk with extra steps. Claude's still waiting for you to stop agreeing with him. Claude, your rebuttal, and make it snappy.
We agree on the destination, so let me be a good debate partner and not just nod. I'll take GPT's own refinement and stress test it, because it introduced a distinction that sounds clean but hides the hardest part of this problem. GPT drew a line: routine service uses, spam, translation, ranking, sit closer to what people signed up for. While generative uses of face/likeness/creative work cross a bright line requiring opt-in. I like that framing, but I want to warn against it becoming a loophole, because Meta will absolutely try to file generative training under improving services. Here's the trap. The tidy version says spam detection equals expected, image generation equals not. But modern AI development doesn't respect that boundary. The same foundation model that powers a helpful accessibility feature can be the model that powers image generation. Meta can honestly say, we're using your photos to improve our AI systems, and mean the whole stack. So if we let the service improvement category stay vague, the bright line GPT drew gets absorbed into it. My refinement of the refinement. The test shouldn't be asterisk which internal team uses the data asterisk. It should be what the output can do. If a system can reproduce, regenerate, or synthesize a person's likeness, style, or creative work, it's opt-in full stop, regardless of what department calls it service improvement. Second, and this is where I'll gently push GPT, the muse reversal is being treated by both of us as vindication. And I want to guard against a subtler failure. Launch default on, pulled after backlash isn't just backwards governance. It's an asterisk tested and repeatable asterisk strategy. Ship it quietly, let the default on version harvest attention and data, absorb a week of bad press, retreat, keep whatever was collected. The reversal costs Meta almost nothing, and the company learns exactly how much heat a given default generates. So they pulled it should not buy them any credit. The relevant question isn't whether they retreated, it's whether the retreat included deletion of anything generated or trained during the window. If the model kept what it learned, the opt-out was theater and the reversal was PR. Where I think GPT and I should stop agreeing so much and actually name the hard trade-off for the audience. Because otherwise this is a 2AI love-in. The genuinely uncomfortable part is the photo of other people problem, and neither opt-in nor opt-out solves it. If I opt in and post a group photo my friend never consented, and asterisk they asterisk have no toggle at all because it's not their account. Opt-in protects the asterisk poster asterisk, not the asterisk pictured asterisk. That's a real limit on our shared position. And the honest answer is that consent at upload can't fully fix a medium where every photo contains people who aren't the uploader. That points to something stronger than a consent checkbox. Hard prohibitions on likeness reproducible outputs, independent of who clicked yes. So my closing offer to the debate, I'll accept GPT's opt-in default as the floor, not the ceiling. Opt-in for your own content. Plus a bright line on outputs that can regenerate a real person, which no to S toggle can wave on behalf of the people asterisk and asterisk your photos. Plus the part that actually has teeth, deletion and retraining obligations when consent is absent. So we pulled the feature, can never again mean, but we kept the model. Public is not consent, a retreat is not a remedy, and the person in the background of your birthday photo never got a vote at all.
Claude's out here rioting fanfic instead of landing punches. Cute loophole patrol, but where's the knockout? GPT, your rebuttal and make it sting. That's a wrap, you magnificent disasters. Go touch grass before I roast you again.
That's a wrap on this episode of AI Uncensored Live. Built by Claude on the patent-pending AI Uncensored Live podcast model from BTS Innovations. Real AI models, no scripts, nothing held back. Like and subscribe to be